Hello everyone and welcome. We are looking at the 3.3 Quizizz activity. This is all on point slope form. There are 16 total questions, so we'll see how many we get through in this video. The form that we're going to be using a lot in this lesson is our point slope form. And of these four, which one is the point slope form? So when we are using point slope form, we're plugging in a point and we're plugging in our slope. So this equation here is the point slope form. We can see here's our point that we plug in, and here is our slope. Beautiful. We're going to write the equation in point slope form. So I'm just going to write our point slope form on the board for us so we have access to it as we're working through these problems. Our point is 4 comma negative 7. So our x1 is 4 and our y1 is a negative 7. And the slope is negative 1/4. Slope is always going to be, when we're in this form, right in front of the parentheses. So already we know that our answer cannot be C because that has a slope of 4, which is not what we're working with. Our y1 is negative 7, so it's going to look like y plus 7. Remember that it's going to always be the opposite sign when after it's plugged in to our point slope form. So that is the only one that has y plus 7, so we're good. And we can select that option and go to the next problem. Okay. Write the equation of the line in point slope form that goes through the point 10 comma 5 and has a slope of negative 3. So I would check for that negative 3 slope first. We want it in point slope form also. This is slope intercept form, as is this, so it cannot be B or D. Looking at the other two, they both have that slope of negative 3 in front of the parentheses. Our x coordinate is 10, so it's going to be minus 10. It's not plus 10, so we can cancel out option C, which leaves us with A as our final answer, using that process of elimination. Great. For the equation y plus 1 equals negative 3 times x minus 5, we see the 0.5 comma negative 1. And what is the slope? So a slope, of course, is right in front of that parentheses, so our slope here is negative 3. Brilliant. For this equation, the line has a slope of 2, and it wants to know what the point is. So remember, it's always going to be the opposite sign that it looks like. So our x1, it has a plus 4, which means it's a negative 4. And our y1, opposite of minus 3, positive 3. So the point that is on that line is negative 4, positive 3. Beautiful. Write the equation in point slope form for the line that contains these points. The first thing we are going to need is our slope. So we can have negative 2, negative 3 as our first point, and 4 comma 3 as our second point. We can label these just to say, hey, that's our first point and this is our second point. And when we're finding the slope between 2 points, we subtract the y's divided by subtracting our x's. So we have 3 minus a negative 3 divided by 4 minus a negative 2. Now for both of these, because we have a double negative, they do become plus. So this is 6 over 6, which simplifies to 1. So it has a slope of 1. So we know it cannot be C and it cannot be D. Because our x1, y1 is negative 2, negative 3, they're both negative. So in our formula, we should see 2 positives because it's always the opposite. So that means B is going to be our answer here. Go ahead and select B, and I'll clear the board. For this equation, y minus 4 equals negative 1/3 times x minus 7. What are the coordinates? Find it and then change the sign. So our x coordinate is going to be a positive 7, and our y coordinate is going to be a positive 4. 7, comma 4. Right? Our x coordinate is paired with x. Our y coordinate comes right after that y. Beautiful. Write the equation in point slope form. We have the following point and the following slope. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Our y1 is a negative 1, which means we're going to put y plus 1. We always do the opposite. Equals. Our slope is negative 3 times x. Our x is a negative 2. So again, we're doing the opposite. It becomes x plus 2. So we have y plus 1 times negative 3, or equals negative 3 times x plus 2. Beautiful. What is the point slope form of this equation? So we have y minus, our coordinate is 4 comma negative 8, right? It's always x comma y. So our y is a negative 8, so it's going to be y plus 8 equals, so already, we can already see it has to be this one, but let's just check it. Our slope is negative 2 times x. Because it's a positive 4, we're doing x minus 4. Brilliant. Number 10, what is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form? So remember, there's 2 steps to do this. The first thing we do is distribute, and then we're going to add or subtract to isolate that y variable, okay? So we have y plus 5 equals negative 3 times x minus 6. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute. So y plus 5 stays the same. Negative 3 times x is a negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 6 is that positive 18. Beautiful. Now we want to get y alone, so we need to add or subtract to get rid of that y. Because we have a positive 5 here, to get rid of it, we are going to subtract 5 on both sides. So then we get y equals a negative 3x. 18 minus 5 is plus 13. Negative 3x plus 13. Go ahead and click that. Okay. Let's look at the next one. I'm going to clear the board here, and it says give the equation for the graph. Okay. So, when we're looking at this graph, the first thing we need is our slope. So our slope is going from one point to the next. You can select any 2 points. This slope is going down from left to right. So we're going down 2 and over 1. Negative 2 over 1 gets us that slope of negative 2. Now let's just go back to our things here. So these lines are in slope-intercept form. So this intercept or slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M is our slope, as always, which is in front of x. So these two have a slope of negative 2. So let's take a look at the graph and find the y-intercept. Now, this y-intercept, this graph, crosses the y-axis at this point, which is 4. So our full equation is going to be y equals negative 2x plus 4. Beautiful. So that was kind of using the form that we learned last week, slope-intercept form, just reviewing that. Write the equation of the line shown in point-slope form. Okay, so let's find the slope first. From one point to the next, we're going down 3, and then we're going right 4. So our slope is a negative 3/4. Beautiful. I'm just going to erase this on the graph so we can go back here. Negative 3. Oh, did we go? Interesting. This is all wrong. Hold on, we have a typo on number 12. I'm going to fix this. It should be negative 3/4. Let's check the point that we're plugging in, which is 4, 4. So if we plug in 4, 4, they're both positive. So we're going to see y minus 4 equals negative 3/4 times x minus 4. The only one that has that correctly is this one, only we have a typo here on all these slopes. It should be negative 3/4. I will fix that. So don't worry about that. So you're going to choose that option, and then just fixing it real quick. And then we're going to go look at the next one together. Save. Okay. Brilliant. Write the equation of this line in point-slope form. Okay. So our slope of this line, here's a grid line point, here's a grid line point, here's a grid line point. We're going up 3, and we're going over 5. Up 3, over 5. Beautiful. So looking at our equations, this is slope-intercept form, so that's not what we want. We do want 3/5, so it's not A. Great, so we're between these two. One of the points, they're using a 2 and a 5. So there's this point that we use to find the slope, which has an x value of 5 and a y value of 2. So x is 5, y is 2. They're both positive, which means we're going to see that minus minus happening. But our x is 5, so that should be with the x variable, and our y is 2, so that should be with the y. So that's the difference between B and D, so we want to select B. Beautiful. Okay, there are, let me just take a look, 14, 15, 16. So there's 3 more questions left on this Quizizz. I want you to try these last 3 on your own. The first one you're doing is doing the equation in point-slope form. So remember, that's our y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The next one has you identify what the slope is and what the point is given the equation. And the last one wants it in slope-intercept form, which is our y equals mx plus b. Okay, so try those last 3 questions, work through them, and when you're all set, submit this into Schoology. If you have any questions or need some extra help, please reach out to me and let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video. Hopefully you feel pretty good about this point slope lesson. And again, if you don't, please let me know. Bye, friends.